time for the briefing. First thing on the briefing is no smoking. Second item is if you move the latch on the front of your seatbelt buckle, the seatbelt will release. So don't do that while we're flying. Pretty simple. If you turn the door handle and push, the door will open. James just went around and checked all the doors to make sure they're securely latched. No matter what it says on that little placard on the door, they are not locked. They're your emergency exits. So don't turn the handle and push while we're flying, because Congress, in their infinite wisdom and knowledge of the American people and how smart we are, passed a law saying you're not allowed to open the doors in flight. Remember that in November, okay? That's what they think of you. That's how smart they think you are. Okay.
Why would I want to exit?
I know. Why would anybody want to open the door while you're flying? That's... Anyway, first aid kits on the hat rack behind the back seat, fire extinguishers behind my left shoulder, the air sickness bags and briefing cards are mounted in the door pockets. Now, if during the course of the flight, someone feels a tremendous, overpowering, almost irresistible urge to use the fire extinguisher, bear in mind that I went to firefighting school, so the easiest way to use it is to hand it to me. Any questions? Okay. Take care of it.
Have you ever needed it?
No, I have never needed it. I've used a fire extinguisher 4 times, each time when I was in firefighting training. These are cockpit fire extinguishers. I was on an accident board one time when I was in the Navy because we had some guys that had an in-flight fire, landed the helicopter, everybody got out safely. One of the guys decided he was going to go back in and try to use the cockpit fire extinguisher to put it out, and the aircraft blew up and killed him. So my use of the fire extinguisher is I'm going to hold on to it so nobody squirts me with it. I'm going to land the helicopter and we're all going to run like crazy. That's it. You guys are all ready to go, right? Okay. Sedona traffic, Skydance helicopter lift in midfield, departing southwest of Sedona. There comes the airplane. That's an old Chinese trainer. A lot of folks are buying them for toys now. They're pretty cheap. Compared to most airplanes, they're pretty cheap.
How cheap is that?
36 to 50,000, somewhere in that range. 36 is the cheapest I've ever seen advertised. Now, if you want to increase the effectiveness of the air conditioner in this aircraft, cup your hand slightly and stick it out the window. Down to the left, the road goes down to the Red Rock Crossing down there. That's where the stream goes across the road. The bottom there is hard red rock, and that was the main wagon road into town from Camp Verde back before they built the bridge, which is down near Tlaquepaque. Tacky-Packy, whatever you want to call it. How many people have been in helicopters before? 1?
Yeah.
Okay, where was that?
John and I have also.
Oh, okay, 3. Jeepers, Pete. No wonder you let her sit in front. You guys are nice. Where'd you guys find helicopters before?
Hawaii and San Francisco.
And Orlando. Orlando, over Disney World or something?
That was our first date.
Oh.
Mine wasn't quite so glamorous. It was in Mississippi, so.
I didn't know they did helicopter tours in Mississippi.
It wasn't a tour. It was just a friend.
Oh.
Took us out.
Out here ahead of us, this is the Coxcomb Rock Formation. Out on the right side, that's the Capitol Dome. Just to let you know how much rain we've had recently, the name of this stream is Dry Creek, and there's actually water in it today. Special treat for you. The coxcomb is an example of redeposition of previously eroded material. In other words, it's a bunch of junk that got washed downstream. The one next to it there, the flat-topped Dome Mountain is the same type of thing. And in front of us is Mezcal Mountain, same thing. That's the old stream bed from where the water was gouging out this canyon up here, Dry Creek and all the other canyons that run into it. The dirt got redeposited down there as the stream slowed down after it came down off the edge of the hill. Out on the right side is the Chimney Rock. This area we're flying over out here is National Forest. The Chimney's in the middle of a wilderness area, and out to the left of us, Enchantment Resort is built in the middle of a wilderness area. So there's a little bulge over here and an indentation over there. Now, the whole purpose of the wilderness area is to preserve that land in a pristine state where the work of man is not visible. So apparently the same guy that wrote the tax code writes the wilderness area boundaries. Out on the right side is Dry Creek Road. There's a housing development out here on the left side of us. That's the Long Canyon housing development. It's going to be a golf course sometime soon, they claim. But on the other hand, it's been on the map for about the last 8 years as a golf course, and there's no golf course there. I think they're just getting a little ahead of themselves. They had a problem with sewage disposal. That's why the housing development collapsed on them. They finally solved that by the idea of building a golf course and using the sewage to water the golf course with. That cabin down there on the left, that's why that's private land. Earl Van Buren was the homesteader that built that over 100 years ago.
Donna, wasn't this worth the drive now? Absolutely.
All the way from Mississippi?
No, actually from Scottsdale.
Oh, okay. Down here on the right, that's Secret Creek, comes out of Secret Canyon. The trail, wilderness trail here is going off toward the right. Looks like the creek goes off toward the right. The secret is the canyon's off to the left. Boy, with this lighting, I got a lot of speckles in my windows. About time to put a new window in there. Now we're going to make use of solar power here. I stayed awake all through physics class so I could do this. Rock got warmed by the sun. It's warming the air next to it. Warm air rises, so it'll carry us over that little notch there to the left. Now it'll be colder on this side because the sun hasn't heated it up yet, so we'll get a downdraft. And we're in Secret Canyon. Now this is quite a bit different from Hawaii because there's no water to speak of. These canyons were cut by ocean water when the Colorado Plateau was thrust up above sea level. Since then, it's just been a little bit of rainwater here and there. We've got ponderosa pine trees down at the bottom of the canyon now because it kind of funnels the rainwater down to the bottom. Average annual rainfall in this area at this altitude is about 17 inches a year, which is not enough to support ponderosa pines. But up on top of the rim, it's about 26 inches a year, which is more than enough. So that's why when the water runs down and collects as it goes through the canyon, it supports ponderosa down here. What I can't figure out is why I can't get one to grow in my yard in town. I mean, I'll water it, dug a nice hole, put fertilizer in with it. And here, they grow out of solid rock. So it must not be solid, but anyway, you know what I mean. Here on the left, you can see where there'd be a waterfall if we had any water. The reason those waterfalls are black is because soot was washed down off the top. There was a fire up there about 4 years ago, and the snow melt the next spring brought soot off the edge. Climbing up this canyon, keep a sharp lookout for the secret army base that's back here. According to the internet, there's a secret army base whose mission is to be the downlink site for the information coming in from the aliens as to how to run the country. So if you've been watching the news lately and wondering why everything's so messed up, maybe you're convinced that aliens aren't quite as smart as we used to think they were.
Has there been any sightings?
Yeah, but on the other hand, you got to consider the source. There's supposedly a lot of UFOs in this area because of all the power vortex sites. This is Frankenstein's face here on the sidewall. Now, I'm convinced there's no army base back here that communicates with the aliens because after spending 20 years in the Navy, one thing I learned was the military services are very jealous of their missions and the money allocated to perform those missions. Communicating with aliens is not an Army mission, it's an Air Force mission. So the Army would never let the Air Force have the base back here because it's a place that's in the middle of nowhere, so that's an Army base place. And the Air Force would never let the Army have the money to build the base. They'd want to do it out of Colorado Springs or someplace close to a nice town. Up here in front of us, that's the Bill Williams Mountain, a big dormant volcano out there. There's a fault line that runs from Bill Williams Mountain, or actually kind of in that area out there. Runs all the way along parallel to Highway 40 till it gets over here to Humphreys Peak, which is hidden in the clouds today. Ceiling's about 11,500 feet. That mountain's 12,500 feet high. That's the tallest volcano in the state of Arizona. This is a forest that's been logged. You can see there are various clearings in through here. The way they log a ponderosa pine forest is they just selectively log it. They don't clear cut. That secret canyon down there beneath us, just the end of it. We get another view looking down a little bit. Down on the right, you can see a clearing in the woods with a road to it. That's an emergency services helipad. So if you're ever out to go for a hike in the woods and you come across a big clearing, don't park in the middle of the clearing. It may keep the tree sap off your car, but that's not what you really want to worry about. You look down on the right, that big rounded sandstone dome down there is Loy Butte. That's part of an old trade route. There was a series of Indian ruins on the southwest side of it. Trade route used to run all the way between Mesa Verde and the Gulf of California. Just had a grasshopper I smacked. Pretty high up for a grasshopper. This is the Hartwell Canyon down here. going to slide on down into Boynton Canyon through here. This is the Enchanted Canyon. They say that the Anasazi originated in here, so every night their spirits return and live in these pillars around us. And during the day they go out and roam the Southwest. They're that's the secret weapon of the Indians that live around here. Those ancestor spirits help to take care of the tribe over time. Now, the Sedona believed that this was true, so when they came in here and replaced the Anasazi and built permanent homes in the area, the Sedona honored that tradition by building their homes up out of the bottom of the canyon. If you're down in the bottom of the canyon, how could the spirits get past your house, right? Now you look to the left here, you'll see a ruined site tucked back into a cave there. And there's another one behind these bushes here on the left. It doesn't have as much soot on it. They say the first one might have been a medicine man's home, used as a sweat lodge. This one's just normal cooking fire usage, they say. Another view of Enchantment Resort there on the right. You can see a trail that leads in through Enchantment back into the canyon here. People are allowed to hike back in here today. There's talk of making a permit system in the future. But for the time being, you can come back here and climb all through this area. Any of these ruin sites available for your close-up observation. All you got to do is climb up on the ledge here and take a look. Now, this next one, they say, is 827 years old. They counted the growth rings in that roof beam. Actually, didn't count them. They kind of like fingerprint them. You compare them to trees. You know when the tree was cut down, you can tell how old that tree was. Another one in here. Say as many as 30 people might have lived in there.
That would have been some hike to get up there.
Yeah, it's kind of rough, and yet they did live up there. They'd make the trek every day. I would say they'd probably be in pretty good shape. Up on the skyline to the left, looks like a bear climbing a stump up there. It's just a rock with two holes in it, of course, but that's how Bear Mountain got its name. Okay, we'll come up the canyon here. We'll do a J-turn and come back down again real quickly. There's a ruined site on the north wall that still has all four of its walls intact. So you get a real good look at it here as we come by the ruined site. One common trait around here is that they built their homes so that they'd be shaded in the summer and in the sunshine in the winter, which also meant they probably had a little bit of porch around the outside. Here, look to the left and you'll see what I'm talking about. No windows in the house, just one small doorway. This is called Long Canyon. This is a wilderness area back here, but once again, there is a trail that follows the stream bed all the way back to the end of the canyon. And that trail will lead you right back to that ruin back there. I've seen people camped in that before. The one with the roof beam I showed you earlier, there were some short beams up on top. Those were put up by a guy in May of this year to support his tarp when he camped in that ruin site. If you come out here and camp in them, the Forest Service does ask you to put them back the way you found them. The narrower canyons preserve the ruins better. Go into the left of that pillar there and look inside the canyon. You'll see that there are 3 rooms in a row against the west wall. They're almost complete as far as of course the roofs are all missing on these because they used a Latia style roof and the wood is rotted away. There are ruin sites in the Verde Valley where the roofs haven't been cleared. These have all been excavated by archaeologists. That's why they don't mind if you go up and camp in them. But there are over 10,000 ruin sites in the Verde Valley. And I know of several of them that have never been excavated by archaeologists. Matter of fact, every time we go out and look for a missing person or something, we'll end up finding more ruins. It's kind of unusual that you'd think you would have found them all by now, especially when you go out and do searches for missing people. But back about the 23rd, 24th of May, I guess it was, we found 8 ruin sites that had never been mapped before. Out in front of us, there's the Capitol Dome. If you look on the right side, that's the Lizard Head rock over there. Boy, lots of camping and hiking pressure today. The Forest Service says more and more people are coming to town expecting to day hike instead of camp. The number of campers hasn't gone down any, but the number of hikers has gone up tremendously. Got a nice little campsite down on the right that's empty, but we've got a day hiker parking lot down there on the left that's getting full. Those folks are going to the Devil's Bridge. We'll show you that here next. Up on the skyline to the right, there's the Owl Rock, balancing rock up there on the edge of the hill. That's formed by wind erosion. And we've got a natural bridge here on the right formed by water erosion. About 45 feet wide and 55 feet high, they say. Right up in front of us here, this is the Eagle Rock. And that's just plain wind erosion. No sculpture at all, just wind. The castle from Disneyland right in front of us there. Out on the right side, the coffee pot. And to the left, you can see a trail that goes up the middle of the canyon, goes up to an alcove over there. That's an Indian run. They call this path Soldier's Pass because this is where the bivouac site was back during the Indian Wars when the soldiers from Fort Verde would come up here to guard Sedona. This big sinkhole down on the right didn't fall in until after the wars were over. This was about 1902 when that fell down. Out to the left is the Steamboat Rock. See the bow, the bridge, the crow's nest, the smokestacks? Sedona traffic, Skydine's helicopter 2.5 miles north, landing midfield on the ramp to Sedona. This little wedge of land we're flying over here with no houses in it is an area that was set aside as national forest and is right in the middle of town today. But the town doesn't want to have any more land swaps. They like having green space in the middle of town. Out to the left, you can see Snoopy Rock there, laying down, taking a snooze. Coming across 89A. The airport vortex is down beneath us on the left. That's a calming vortex. With all the folks have stopped there and the bus has stopped. They're doing it wrong. You're not supposed to stand up. You're supposed to sit down. You got to spend about a half an hour there for the power of the earth to channel through your body and take your nervousness away. You've got the Bell Rock out there ahead of us to the left, down with the village of Oak Creek. That's the power vortex. That's where you go to get your energy recharged if you let too much slip away there at the calming vortex. Here we go, right side up. I think that was the guarantee we gave, wasn't it? Yeah. Now they do have that other helicopter over there. Don't go walking over into that tail rotor over there. Walk in towards the office. Nobody get hurt.